Yeah, why not? This would make a nice bit, maybe this part. Evan? I think I like this one. It feels very kind of alive and nice over here.
Yeah.
And,
Well, if it feels good, that's probably a good sign.
do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, what about that bit? Oh no, you see, I told you I was bad at making decisions.
The piece over there is nice, good shape.
This one?
Nice and straight.
Yeah, it is nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel sorry for this piece.
That'll be
No,
okay.
let's go with that piece. Okay.
It'll return to earth and come back as something else.
Good.
As I struggled through the bushes to thank the ash tree for letting me use its branch as a wand, it seemed to me that the Wicker code of showing respect for nature was making me feel connected to the natural world. I didn't even feel too embarrassed about hugging a tree.
Okay, so what should I do? I should put both hands on.
Put both hands on, and if you just give the tree some feeling,
Okay.
make the energy come from your heart.
It's a lovely tree.
It's gorgeous.
It's really beautiful. I'm really
Wonderful.
glad we picked this one. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, well, let's get your wand cut then. I have a special bowline knife that is used for cutting, used in a ritual circle. It's moon shaped, so it's a tool that we use as well as the wand.
That's a great looking piece.
Yeah,
my
it's got a
goodness.
nice cutting edge, a bit sharp, so mind your fingers.
Okay.
Even with Kevin's special knife, it seemed that cutting the wand would take a long time, so it seemed a good opportunity to ask a question I'd been wondering about for a while.
Yeah.
What's the difference between Wicca and witchcraft?
Witchcraft is the practice, really, of transforming and manipulating energies. Wicker is more of a spiritual path that incorporates witchcraft, but has a very strong ethical foundation to it, which is very important. And we don't have a lot of rules, but the ones that we do have are very, very special. One of the guiding principles that we have is that you harm none, and that is an absolute fundamental rule. It means that you don't manipulate people, that you do everything in life with perfect love and perfect trust. There you go, perfect.
Okay. Oh, it's quite fresh, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's lovely. Now we want to strip some of the bark off.
Okay. What should we use for that? Is there a sacred tool for that?
Well, I have my sacred penknife in there. We could use that.
Sacred penknife sounds good. It's very green under there, is that right?
Yes, it'll dry off after a few months. But that's good, it means it's still got life in it.
With my new wand in my hand, Kevin and I headed to a shop in Glastonbury's Mystic High Street.
Wow, this is fantastic. So what do we need? We need a crystal for the top of my wand.
Yep, and I also think it'd be a good idea to get some incense, get some frankincense so that we can consecrate the wand.
Okay.
And then perhaps look at some athames as well.
Those are the ritual knives.
That's it.
Okay, great. All right, well, should we do crystal hunting?
Okay.
Choosing one crystal in a shop with so many was no easy task. How was I supposed to choose? Should they be talking to me like the wand? Or did different types have different properties?
So are we looking for something raw rather than polished?
I would advise something more like a point or something like that.
Is that too
But
long?
again, it's up to you. I think that's probably a bit too long.
Okay.
Yeah. Something perhaps a little squatter and pointier.
Okay.
But it's up to you what you choose.
Now, is there one kind that's better than others?
Well, they all have different qualities. I mean, you would normally pick one that suits the sort of work you're doing, but for one like that, I would say something like one of the calcites there.
This chippy bit.
That would
Will
be
it look
ideal.
too small? No.
No, that would be ideal.
I do like this. Is it a matter of being drawn to something
Well,
again?
that's
Is
the
it?
important thing. It's just as with the wand, it's what feels right to you.
Let's see. Not that one, but that one, yeah? Sorry. What do you think?
Well, take them both and make your mind up later.
Okay, let's do it.
The shop had talismans, wands, chalices, amulets and spell books. It was in Aladdin's cave of magical paraphernalia.
Oh, Kevin, look at all this stuff.
Yeah, this is very much a sort of witch in the sweet shop job here.
Completely. Look at these wands.
Yeah, you've got some really nice ready-made ones
Yeah.
here. They're absolutely gorgeous. And there's some really nice athames down the bottom here.
Oh, now these ones don't have handles. Is that so you can make your own handles?
That's right. You can buy them ready-made with the handles, or as far as I'm concerned, it's better to buy a blank blade like that.
Oh, yeah.
And make a handle for yourself.
Oh, this is beautiful.
The only thing left to buy was some incense. Then I was fully equipped.
Yeah. So I'm just putting the finishing touches to my wand here. It's not finished actually. I'm going to do some more on it another time, but for now I've sanded it down and I've oiled it, and I'm just trying to attach the crystal. It's not quite standing out the way I envisioned it. Oh, maybe I should just quit while I'm in. And I must say, I feel so fond of this now, which I can't imagine ever feeling about a wand that I bought. This actually feels special and important. It's not dead solid, but that is. I'm quite pleased with that. Okay, so tomorrow is the day of my final challenge. It's the big day, and I've finally found out what it's going to be. And it's kind of close to home. It's actually a little bit too close to home. Oh! Before I start my final test, there's just one more thing I've got to learn, and that is how to cast a magic circle.
I'd been told that my final challenge was going to be to cast a spell that would improve my old friend David's tennis playing. He's always felt that somewhere inside of him was a great player trying to get out, and it was going to be my job to set that champion free. I went to visit a hedge witch called Sally Morningstar, who'd promised to tell me how to cast a simple spell to overcome David's mental block. But right from the start, it was clear that things weren't going to be that simple after all.
What we're doing here is decorating a pentagram in preparation for casting our circle a bit later on.
Fantastic.
And the pentagram is the representation. It's one of the elemental tools that represents the earth element.
Right.
Which is why decorating it with things like flowers and berries is very significant. In the middle, when we've set up, is the chalice.
And that's feminine as well.
That's feminine, it's considered a feminine element. And then we've got the athame. This is my athame. Then we have the wand, which you've been so meritoriously making, Jane. My wand's bigger than your wand. No.
That's lovely.
And
did you make that?
I gathered it. It was the one that presented itself to me.
Oh, it's lovely.
So here on the altar now, we've got our 4 elemental tools. So we've got the pentagram, chalice, and athame.
Fantastic.
With the altar complete, we cast a magic circle, a sort of powered up, purified space from where I could contact the elemental forces and call on the help of a long list of witchcraft's deities to carry out the spell. It's going to be a lot to remember.
And so we bid you hail and farewell.
After talking to Sally, I felt a spell might just help. After all, I wasn't trying to endow David with super tennis ability, just unblock his natural potential.
Because I remembered you talking to me about how sometimes when you're playing tennis, you feel that it's not a kind of lack of ability that's stopping you from doing your best, but it's some kind of issue that stands in the way.
Yeah, well that's true, I think, in that some people would say, your husband, who I play regularly, would say it is a lack of ability, and it's demonstrated by my constant losing to him. I've always felt that no, I have a natural ability at tennis, quite a high level of natural ability at tennis, which is just the other side of a psychological block.
And what do you think the nature of the block is? Have you given it thought?
I think that there's one major thing which hopefully your spell will have sorted out, which is that I live my life in a state of sort of neurosis and Jewish anxieties all the time, and they don't stop when I play tennis. So generally my mind is elsewhere anyway. My mind is on the great raft of problems that exist in my life normally, and that doesn't help. And there's that's sort of macro problem, and there's a sort of micro problem, which is that I've never quite understood how you're supposed to grip the racket. Right, because that's the thing, is that sort of thing you have to think about. Like in the moment of playing, in tennis, every time you hit the ball, it's not just like, oh, hit the ball and if you're lucky, it's good, and if you
Right.
you have to think, right, is my grip right? Is the angle of my racket head right? Are my feet at the right angle to the ball? And that fact, you have to just think about all that before you play every shot, defeats me, because I haven't got that level of concentration. I just want it to happen.
And so you feel like if you had the brain space with less other stuff going
Well, that would
on,
help, yeah.
it would
That would
clear it.
definitely help, yeah. I'd be more focused, as I believe that sporting expression goes.
I believe- yeah,
I very rarely get in the zone. Normally, only for about 4 minutes in every match am I in the tennis zone. I'm not thinking of anything else.
The impression I've got from all the lovely witches who have helped me so far is that what's important is the intent and the sincerity, and not necessarily the remembering everything in perfect detail. I really would love the outcome to make David happy. It would be great. And so I hope that's the right intent. Of course, slight conflict of interest, because if David beats Jonathan, I might have hell to pay. I'm terrified. So I'm in the Book of Shadows, and I'm going to gather up all my many thousands of bits I need for my altar.